Shalom. I'm Doran Ellen Beldotan, Tzvat in Israel. Herein, please God, I would like to speak about serenity. It may seem strange to discuss serenity when the world is so very troubled, but I'm hard-pressed to think of any better time to speak about serenity than when we need it most, and to show that it can be found no matter what the external conditions are. Serenity and peace are not the same. Serenity is having made peace with oneself, with one's own inner turmoil, and having mastered one's various impulses and abilities. Serenity is a necessary condition and the predicate of being able to make peace with others. Only among people who have attained the level of serenity, sovereignty, that is called serenity, can make peace. People who have not attained serenity may be able to enter into an entente or a détente or an agreement or a ceasefire. But to really make peace, the parties to the peace agreement have to be sovereign. That is to say, they have each attained serenity. They have made peace within themselves. In English, there's an expression, your serene highness, or his or her serene highness. Now I know that serenity does not exist with any of the monarchies, but that expression alludes to an awareness that sovereignty, true sovereignty, is serene. And one cannot be called a true reigning monarch. One cannot be called a sovereign until they have attained serenity. It is only then that one sits securely and stably on the seat, on the throne, which we have learned is the seat of learning in the kingdom of David. There are two separate words in Hebrew. One is שלוה, which is serenity, and the other is שלום, which is peace. And we will see that serenity exists within the Hebrew word peace. Let's look at the word peace first. It is the word shalom, as just about everybody knows. The word shalom is actually made up of, you can look at it in many ways, but it is initially we should look at it as two separate words. One is the word shalev, which is shin lamed vav, spelled correctly, and it is the one who is serene. The mem sophit at the end of the word shalom, equaling as it does 600, is also the word sas. Sian, 300 at 300. So the word shalom says, sas means to rejoice. The word shalom says, shalev sas, the serene one rejoices. If I put the definite article onto shalom and it becomes ha-shalom, we now see the word שלוה, spelled correctly, shin lamed vav hey, and again the mem sofit. So we have שלוה, which is serenity, or השלו, which the one who is serene, and then again the mem sofit, which is sas, which is rejoices. So השלום says השלו sas, the serene one rejoices. The mem sofit, equaling as it does 600, also equals the expression מלכות בארץ, צוות בארץ. 600 is the same as 1,599, and that's because an aleph, equals both 1 and 1,000. So the word shalom says shalev, the serene one, and then Malchut Ba'aretz is the kingdom on earth. Malchut Ba'aretz means kingdom on earth. So Hashalom says Shalev HaMalchut Ba'aretz. The serene one is the kingdom on earth. The name Shalom is also one of God's names. At the beginning, at the end of the word Shalom, we see a shin and a mem sofit together. That is Shem, Sham. That is name, or where one is located. The Lamed and the Vav in the middle is the name Eloah, which is one of God's names. So Shalom is Shem Eloah, the name Eloah. And we learn now that where God is, God's name itself is serenity, which is the kingdom on earth. I'll write these substitution values out, please God, so you'll see that I'm not just making it up. Serenity is the kingdom itself. One who attains serenity has entered the kingdom of heaven, truly. And if they do it while they're still in a body, they've done it while they're still on earth. There is no greater achievement than having made peace with oneself, other than having made peace with oneself and with others who have similarly made peace with themselves. You cannot make peace with someone who hasn't attained serenity, that is, making peace within themselves. You can arrive at some kind of modus vivendi with them, but you can't enter into a real covenant of peace, a real brit shalom with them. It's impossible. So if one wants to be able to enter into a covenant of peace with others, one has to find serenity within oneself. That can't be bought. They say that money can't buy love. That's true. Money cannot buy serenity. Somebody said recently that the British monarchy has often made the appearance of being calm, cool, and collected by wrapping a stiff upper lip around a double martini. If you have to do that, you haven't reached real serenity. I'm talking about the true kingdom of God. Serenity is something that we have to develop very deliberately, very painstakingly, and with a lot of patience and determination. It's something that we have to want very, very much. And so no one should feel that they have failed somehow if they haven't made peace with themselves. Certainly not a peace with themselves that is abiding and stable and consistent. That's a very difficult level to reach. And no one ever just sort of bumbles and stumbles across that. It is always the result of very hard work. We begin by valuing serenity, which will give us the tools that we need in order to be able to enter into covenants of peace with others, of having it be very, very dear to us and wanting it very much. Wanting it so much that we want it more than money, more than power, more than prestige, more than other accomplishments, more than the momentary satisfaction and pleasure that we may get from watching the news and hoping that there's going to be a juicy bit about our enemies having failed. We have to give up all of that in order to find serenity. Serenity is eternal. Nobody who concerns their minds and their emotions overmuch with the news can attain serenity. After we've attained serenity, we can then look at the news to see what other people are concerning themselves with, so as to be able to help them. But it is not because those news items entertain our thoughts and our emotions. We don't get a charge from them. We don't look to them as some kind of a truth. We look at them very objectively, in a very removed kind of a way, analytically, to see what it is that people's minds are generating so that we can help them. But they're of no entertainment to us. We attain serenity by listening to the words and watching the behaviors of those who have attained serenity. They become our teachers. If one learns Torah correctly, one is actually learning from the masters of peace. Unfortunately, most people are not learning Torah correctly. And to be very honest, I am hard-pressed to think of a name of a rabbi that I can honestly say this is an example of someone who's attained serenity. They all talk a good game. They may be very entertaining, but I don't see in them that kind of gentle quiet that bespeaks the fact that someone has attained serenity. And so, although I know that learning Torah leads to the highest levels of peace, I cannot recommend rabbis who can be your madrichim, your guides to get there, because I don't see that they have gotten there. I'd like to go back to the word shalom. As I'm talking, I'm thinking the shin and the vav in shalom together is 306, which is the same thing as 1305, is Shmei HaShamayim, which is the heavens of the heavens, the absolute highest heavens. And then the Lamed and the Mem Sofit is 630, which is B'chayim, which means in life. So it's Shmei HaShamayim B'chayim, the highest heavens in life. 630 is also Chogegim, which means celebrating, and it can also mean lachug is also to go around. You're talking about the orbits. So this Shmei HaShamayim, it's the highest heavens, the orbiting of the highest heavens. It's the highest level that one can get to. And when we get there, we meet those who have also endeavored to find serenity in themselves, which will allow them to be able to enter into an agreement of peace with others. First, we have to make peace within. I have found a number of videos of people with whom I am impressed. I wish I could say, I could say that I found rabbis that reach that level. I have not. Not in this generation. So I'm going to recommend people, to those who are not Jewish, to look at as what I consider to be role models. And if there are Jews that are listening to this, I would say to look at them as role models, but remember that our path has to be Torah. So to listen to them, but to know that a Jew has to find this within Torah. We have to find it in the holy personalities that we encounter in Torah. The word personality is not correct, because eventually we discover that we're actually looking at the very pillars of the creation itself. That they are the foundations of the heavens and the earth. So I would like to mention a few people. I'll link to them in the description below. I think that they have attained a most admirable level of peace within themselves, which is serenity. And every one of them are people that, I could sit and talk to every day, all day long. And so I'll recommend them to you. Even in the midst of all of the hysteria that's going on, and the fear, and everything that is screaming for our attention, the most important thing to do in the midst of all that is to find serenity. To be controlled enough not to be running after the things that take our serenity away. One of them is listening to a lot of news. One of the worst ways to lose our serenity is to go to a bank and take out a new business loan. If there is anything that is signing a contract with the devil and signing your soul away, that's it. It is so important not to get into a contract which forces you to give up your serenity. A person who takes out a loan, who starts a new business, may experience satisfaction, a feeling of mastery, their income increasing. What they will not experience is serenity. They have actually contracted to give up being serene for many years until the terms of the contract is paid off. So stay economically free in so much as you can. You are much more likely to be able to start the path towards serenity if you are a salaried worker, or if you belong to a co-op, than you are if you're a business owner. Any kind of debt that we're in a major way impedes our ability to find serenity. Travel as light through this world as you can, so that you don't stay up worrying about what if I can't make my payments, what if I can't pay my workers, what if I can't pay my rent. All of these things rob us of our internal peace. Design your life such that there are as few demands on you as absolutely possible, so that you don't have to be worrying, even if it's in the back of your head all the time, how am I going to pay those to whom I'm indebted? Travel light. It's much easier for a salaried worker to undertake the discipline of finding serenity than someone who owns a business, especially if they owe money to a bank. So a lot of the people that people look up to in America are the last people in the whole wide world who are going to find serenity. Same thing goes for all of the heads of state. The same thing goes for all of the monarchs. Their lives are intrigues and power plays and all of the things that rob us of our serenity. Pare your life down to the simplicity that's necessary so that you don't owe anybody anything. And then you can connect with God and find serenity within yourself. So please God, I'll give a few examples in links below to people who've impressed me deeply with having found serenity. If you're American, I would say to turn to the natives and learn with them. Nobody can give you serenity but you. If you have any kind of a belief system where someone is going to show up on the scene and hand you serenity like a present, forget that. It's a very, very tantalizing illusion, but it is an illusion. It's something that we have to work for. In the same way that someone trains to become an Olympic athlete, or someone trains to become a master musician, any accomplishment that we have in this world is the result of our own endeavors. Attaining serenity, which is the second highest achievement possible, it's this right below attaining peace with others who have attained peace, is something that we absolutely must do ourselves. And so I'm going to be offering people to look at for inspiration, and I wish you every blessing of peace. Please, please don't follow every bit of news. You don't need to know every gory detail about everything. It will rob you of peace. No one ever found the eternal by running after the news. Thank you for listening. I'm going to be attaching a minute or something of some footage from the sunset this evening, and I offer that because I want you to see the forms that nature takes on, the forms of peace, the forms of serenity. before our eyes when we gaze upon nature with serenity, with peace. Thank you for listening. No charge. You're welcome. No matter what's going on in the world, here it's always peaceful. Look at the almond trees today. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Even on the mountain, look. And we've got some down there. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, full bloom. Look at that. Oh yeah, oh boy, oh boy. There's one that's very pink. That's when you know you got it. When nature always looks this way to you. Hey birdie, hey. I guess the swifts are coming back. You're coming back, swiftings.